Hello, everyone, and welcome to Unicorn Light Tarot. Sincerely hope everybody is doing amazingly well today. Whether you are brand new and you have just clicked onto this video, this reading, or whether you've been here before, welcome, welcome, welcome. Today we have a wonderful reading from our beautiful goddess Hecate, Hecate, however you want to say her name. There are many different ways. We will be channeling her today to get you some quick, vibrant, powerful messages in this moment, what you need to know right now. So as always, we have three piles, 1, 2, and 3. As always, take as much time as you need to gather yourself. The more you are secured in your own body, the energy in your own body, the more you believe in yourself, the more you are connected to your intuition, the more these readings resonate, because of course this is all about collective energy, collective power. So if the first pile that you choose doesn't resonate, feel free to choose another one. If that one doesn't resonate, then maybe the messages are not here for you today, but always check back in the future. So as always, take what resonates and don't worry about what doesn't. The timestamps are down below, as always, for you to get right in there and get into your messages. But let's do that right now. Let's get right in there, get right into your messages from Hecate. That's what I like to call her. Let's go ahead and put these two aside, pile 2 and pile 3. So if you chose pile 1, then wait a little second while the camera organizes itself. So if you chose pile 1, these are your beautiful, powerful messages in this moment from Hecate. Let's get right into your reading. We're going to start with Oracle, move on to some Tarot a little later on. So your first message is message, which is wonderful. Number 45 and message. Okay. So the first image that's coming up, of course, is the 45 records. They're old records. They're smaller than the 35, the 45. So, and then you have sun, joy, enjoyment, life force, success, vitality, play. And then you have communicate with spirit, 28. So the main message for you today with the added message of the 45 is very, very strongly, pile 1. Stop playing it small. Stop playing it small. You don't need to do that anymore. Let's see if we can get this light a little. Oh, it's just all right, shining a little bright on this, but that's a good thing. So no need to play small anymore. The way in which you are, trust exactly where you are right now, and specifically trust that all of your energy is coming together. The most important connection for you is joy in this moment and play. That's what's going to bring things in, new opportunities for you. Sometimes you have a habit of overthinking and trying to get everything, all your ducks in a row before you move forward, which is perfectly human to do. And it really does stem from the fact that, sometimes you swing backwards and forwards about like just going with the flow, and then, having a good time, but also having to pick up some of those messes sometimes and say, what the hell am I doing here? To maybe being over focused on things and being so tightly wound around everything that you want that you're not allowing these opportunities to come in. We say this a lot on this channel too. Sometimes, the universe is knocking on the door, but if you can't hear the knock, then you don't know which door to go to open it. So this is a reminder that everything that you've been working on is coming to fruition. It absolutely is. You do not need to doubt yourself. This is also a profound reminder that everything that you want is seeking you. And everything that's been activated in your blueprint, is going to come to you. So you can relax into this. You're not in control of the divine timing aspect of it. The more aligned you are with who you are and the playful part of you, the quicker it's going to come in. Because, of course, divine timing is really all about when you're ready to receive it. And that could be a moment, a shift in perspective that changes everything and allows in, so almost like floodgates, right? Allows in all of these opportunities. Now, you don't need to worry about the floodgates. You won't be overwhelmed. You've been working towards this in one way or another your entire life. So communicate with spirit, communicate with yourself. And when we say that, self-soothe. Remind yourself constantly that you've got this. Remind yourself you're exactly where you need to be. Remind yourself that you don't necessarily have to see all of the answers or see everything play out in real time, either in your mind or look for that in your actual life. It doesn't mean that things aren't coming to you. That's another thing. There's a real practical element to you, which is wonderful. In many ways, it's kept you alive. So we're not saying it's a bad thing in any way, shape, or form. It's absolutely incredible. But at the same time, sometimes it shoots off the neurons in the old brain, the old noggin that says, oh my goodness, wait a second, if this isn't happening, then that isn't going to happen. And, and waiting for these signs. And sometimes when we vigilantly wait for these signs, we miss out on life a little bit. So the main message is to let go of the grip a little bit and move into the surrender process. Some of you are really good at the surrender process when you're at sort of, quote unquote, rock bottom and there's nothing else for you to do. You're good at the surrender process. And in those moments that surrender process does bring you something. It does bring you something brilliant. So it works. But when you're in this position where you're being asked to go into the surrender process, there's a part of you that resists that, which is totally understandable because you're ultra independent. You're used to doing things for yourself completely and totally. You're used to not really relying on anyone else. So this is going to be this is going to be something for you to move into, a new cycle. But once you're there, it's going to be amazing. The surrendering process in the moment of staying in joy, staying in attainment, knowing that everything is coming to you that you want. But also the other side of that is being perfectly happy in the moment that you're in and without having what it is that you're seeking. And again, everything is within you. Now, we're told that all the time, and sometimes it's kind of annoying. But the message really is that whatever it is that you're seeking isn't actually going to complete you in any way, shape, or form. But what it will do specifically is it will bring in new connections. And that's what you're really seeking. At the core of this is all about connection. But you can work on connections right now without having to wait for all these new opportunities coming in. And to be clear, they are coming in. So work on that beautiful connection with yourself, that connection to joy, that connection to trust. Make that connection so profound that it cannot be broken, even if you have a bad day or even if something happens where your practical mind comes in and starts doubting you. Well, this won't happen now because this happened. That's not true. But make it unshakable. This is something that you can absolutely work on now and you're ready to do. You're ready to lighten the load, loosen the grip to do that. Stay in that beautiful sort of innocent mode. You've been working on that gorgeousness that you have with that integration with your inner child. Let them take center stage a little bit. Sometimes when they do, they have those little tantrums, right? So it's a game. It's a dance that you play with your inner child, where that joy and innocence comes up and is fully integrated. But at the same time, if things don't go your way, they have a little meltdown. And if they want to, that's fine. Let them do it. You'll get through it. The main message here is that whatever happens, you will get through it, and that's fine. Just provide this container for yourself for joy and wisdom in this one moment. Let's go ahead and get you some more. The first thing that we picked up when we picked up our tarot for a little extra inspiration is the Lovers, which is full integration. Now, for some of you, this could actually mean that somebody is coming in, which again is a very specific message for some of you that don't focus necessarily on the person coming in. Focus on yourself and the love that you already have. That's going to bring in that person quicker. The other thing is that full integration of divine masculine and divine feminine. And specifically within this reading, it's about when to move forward and when to hold sort of that receptivity of the divine feminine, when to hold back just a little bit and say, you know what, this is the time where I'm just going to be in this space. Everything's going to happen. I'm going to allow it to happen to me. And then when you have that divine action of being called to action, I don't even really know why, but I'm feeling called in this direction. So having that pure connection to the divine masculine, the divine feminine. And as we say on this channel, again, it doesn't have to be 50-50. You can be more masculine, you can be more divine feminine. Either way, it doesn't matter. It's all going to work out for you. The formulas that you came in with in this beautiful life to be you is more than enough to get you that success that you're seeking. Yeah, you've got that Queen of Cups energy, which is beautiful energy. Wow, look at that. You've got the Ace of Cups coming in. So you are on the verge of something big happening, some changes coming in. And again, the Lovers came in. So that is absolutely a reminder that, you know, the love that you're seeking is absolutely there. But of course, that love really gets solidified when we save that love for ourselves, at least initially. There's more than enough to go round. And most of this is about, you know, real acceptance for oneself, even the impatience part of yourself, because you can do this. You can, you know, you come to the point where you're accepting yourself, and then you get really hard on yourself for not being patient, which sort of somewhat undoes some of the work that you've been doing, right? None of it's a really big deal. You're there anyway. You've got the depth of the emotionality. Honor exactly all the experiences that you've been through. It's brought you this incredible wisdom. And this incredible wisdom, if you can see it and visualize with us for just a second, you know, it's a little bit cheesy, but bear with us. You know, that wisdom as you sit on the top of the mountain, but as you sit on that top of the mountain, you're able to see everything. And there are certain things that are playing out in your life. And you don't need to, you know, you have to trust that the universe is not bringing you into absolutely everything to play out, because it's not necessary. Some of it really is happening off scene. Some of it really is happening sort of away from the eyesight, away from your discernment, because you don't need to see absolutely everything coming together, but trust that all the pieces of the puzzle are coming together sort of behind the scenes. So the universe isn't bringing you into absolutely everything. It doesn't need to. You know, you're at that depth of field, right, and that depth of living, of being able to see everything for what it is. So just trust that all this integration is coming in. Concentrate on the vitality. The vitality will actually come in when you really link up your happiness to the play and the innocence and the enjoyment in that moment. What it does, it will activate that sort of play, that vitality, because some of you have had this energy of going up and down constantly. So your energy will really, and then some of you have been coming into this night owl energy, because that's the real quietness. You know, you're really connected with Diana, the goddess of the moon. You can obviously work with Hecate at this time, and any moon goddess that you feel is calling you at this time, because there is an energy of you with that divine feminine connecting to that sort of darkness, but in this really profound way, for you to really gather the information that you need. And some of the information that you need to move forward is just to stay in joy. Again, allowing this integration of when to move forward, when to stay put, allow everything to come to you. See yourself as a magnet, right? You've alchemized everything in your life and you're ready to go, but you're too quick on the draw to figure out what to do. Take your time. There are many different opportunities coming for you, or coming to you. That sounds a little ominous. Coming to you at this time. And some of them could be really interesting, but not what you really had in mind. But at the end of the day, they could take you somewhere really interesting. So stay open to that joy and that innocence in that moment and that vitality will have you recognize those beautiful opportunities coming in. If your mind keeps sort of taking so much of a hold, when these opportunities come in, you might say, oh, you know what? That's not going to be good for me right now, or that's going to take me off my path. When in actuality, that's not true. So staying true to you, connect to that innocence. Stay very much in your own power. Stay very much in your wisdom. And at the same time, become that observer of your life and just allow in that receptivity of that energy, because these opportunities will come in much quicker. And again, there's an essence of love coming in, whether it's coming in from an external environment, i.e. a partner coming in, whoever this person would be. They're a worthy opponent for you, because you are witty in that way. That's true, I suppose. But they're worthy of you. They're, they have their life together in a way that, maybe that you've gone for people in the past that you've had to lend some of your energy before, and it's settled into a rather unbalanced situation. This is a balanced situation. This person's coming in with energy that's already theirs. They're not going to take from you. They're not going to expect anything from you. It's going to be a new environment for you. But again, allow for all of this to come in. You want to be in a position where you can hear the knocking, and then you can really ascertain where the knocking's coming from, so you can go straight to that door and open it, right? So stay with it. Stay with exactly who you are, and just honestly, just let it all go. Surrender into this moment. It's really important for you to do that, because it's just going to bring you to new heights. And again, all of this is sort of not really laid out for you. There's some new stuff coming in. There's some stuff that you've asked for before, and you wouldn't be surprised if you came in. But there's some new stuff coming in, and that could be the container that holds everything that you want. These could be really interesting opportunities for you. Did you seek them out? Not exactly. No, but they could bring you great happiness. So stay in your mindset, stay in your joy, stay in your innocence, and allow for all of this to come in for you. So this is what we have for you, Pile 1, sending you so much love and light for exactly who you are and where you are. Big hugs to you. Thank you for tuning in. Feel free to subscribe if you would like to, and if not, that's totally fine too. And of course, a big shout out, if that's the appropriate term, to our beautiful Hecate or Hecate for coming in for these very powerful blasts of moments in time to relate to you at this time. And don't forget, we have an absolute ton of resources down below, with all the links below through this channel, the website, and of course we have the 21 days activation course down below. Many of them for free, lots of different ways to get support. Again, always listen to your intuition before you seek out any help, because only you know you. So go be you, and until we meet again, Pile 1, take care. Bye-bye. Hello, wonderful Pile 2s. If this is your pile, welcome. We are getting you some beautiful messages, some profound messages in the moment, powerful messages from Hecate, however you want to say her name, beautiful goddess. Here, digging deep, we're going to start off with Oracle and move on to Tarot. Let's get right into your messages today. Your first message is tap into primal power, number 31. Beautiful. It's an incredible image there to start off your reading. And then we have differences, 36. Gorgeousness. And then you have the fertile void, inner winter, rest, patience, potency, secret beginning. Secret beginnings. This is beautiful, Pile 2. This is a very specific energy that's coming in and around you. It's a very powerful integration process for you right now. A lot of it's sort of happening on a very personal level. So it's nothing that really needs to be displayed to the world right now. So you might be feeling a little disconnect from the world. You might be feeling like a little, I don't want to be in the world right now, and feeling this void energy. It doesn't feel like depression necessarily. It just feels like you want a separation from the world. You want to go in and figure this out. Some of you are like, yeah, I just want to sort of disappear for a week and do my own thing. That's perfectly natural with everything that you're going through here. Now, there's ways in which to do this without having to disappear for the week if you're not able to, if you're not in a position to. Keeping your energy to yourself, not expelling too much energy, not connecting to the collective energy at this point, because this is all about you refigrating your energy and understanding the collective energy sort of from your own point of view, from universal truth, that point of view. So it's not really necessary for you to click into the energy of other people or click into the collective right now. That's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. So we can just let it do it without any judgment. So rest where you can. Have patience for yourself. Some of you are still trying to move forward, making moves, doing this, doing that. Totally understandable, because on the other side of it, sort of on a parallel level, you're also feeling as though, it's time for new beginnings, it's time to move forward. And some of you are trying to push this and getting frustrated that nothing really feels right as you try it on. That's totally fine. And that's exactly where you need to be, because again, you're in this void, but it's the fertile void, right? It's not this stagnant energy. And it's not even this energy where you've been before, where you were healing in this void. You had to take yourself out of situations in order to acclimate to new ways of seeing, and really integrate all of the wisdom that you had been through via your experiences. This is kind of the opposite of that. This is actually a really beautiful, sort of a picturesque place to be. Sort of painting pictures, understanding the world, pulling yourself out of it so you can understand it, really understanding the depths of polarity, and not just understanding it, but really accepting it. Now, this is really, really unbelievable if you can get this part of it, because a lot of suffering on the human realm is through polarity, us versus them, good versus evil, this, that, and the other. If we can identify it, we can fight it, we can cast it out. It's very old thinking. It's in the Bible, it's in religion, it's in everything, right? It's sort of the core of who we are. It's sort of in the freedom aspect of, even in America. It's all the in every kind of nationalism, it's that sort of thing, right? And it's old and it's falling apart. It doesn't really work. I mean, it works to a certain extent, but it's the cost is so heavy. We don't need to do that anymore, right? So if you can get behind this and you can understand it in your own way, in your own realm, and again, you can come back to something bigger and better, something that came from before, that again, tapping into that primal power of you, which means that nothing can stand in your way anymore. Now, you've been on the precipice of this, of figuring out, 4 steps forward, 3 steps backwards. Sometimes you're great at it, and sometimes, things in the collective really get your goat. All of that's perfectly natural, right? And it is, because a lot of that stuff you didn't agree with from the beginning. And even though you wouldn't, even as a child or growing up, you may not have been able to sort of put your finger on what doesn't work, but you did put your finger on the fact that you did not want to be integrated fully into this world. A lot of the systems didn't really work. And this is something that you absolutely knew without a shadow of a doubt. So this is a way for you to, but there's a part of you that really wants everything to be okay. You're not at that martyr stage anymore. In the past, you may have sort of bordered on that, but you're used to putting your energy first and figuring this out, and knowing that once you're okay, you can work in the collective better. The more your energy is more for you, more relaxed, more in tune with the environment that you're in, your life, then of course you're absolutely moving that energy through the collective a little bit more. So you absolutely intrinsically know without a shadow of a doubt that the best thing that you can do for the universe, for the collective, is be yourself, is be you. This is something that you know. And again, you've been working on this. You've been working on this diligently, one way or another, working through the sort of the abscess version of, and it's icky and ooh, but you've been getting into, you don't mind doing that. You'll go in, you'll tear everything apart, and you'll come out on top. That's the person that you are. But you've been working through this polarity stuff, especially in the last 2 years, but really, in essence, again, your entire life. So this is sort of the last part of it, where you can sort of, the image of, looking at that candle and having that flame, and, that flame only gives just a little bit of light, and finally snuffing it out and saying, I'm not doing this anymore. But the darkness doesn't frighten you anymore, because it allows in that brand new beginning. So this is something that you can do. It brings you onto a new perspective too, how you view people, where you view their existences from, like this level of acceptance that's absolutely incredible. Not only is it peaceful for your soul, but it really allows you to move in any direction, because your energy isn't taken up with the old stuff, and it's not connected to any old systems, which, let's face it, they're all crumbling now anyway. So to attach your energy in any way, shape, or form to any old structure, even if you think you're fighting it, or even if you think that you're understanding it so you can expel it, it's much easier to really understand it from the inside out and release it and come out of it, right? That macro version of it. So don't think for a second that this work that you're doing is number one, it's something that you've done before and it's frustrating because you keep being here. This is a brand new version of it. So that's not true. You are doing this incredible work. And at the end of this, there is this release process that will be available for you. And B, or number two, do not think for a second that this is a passive reading or what you're going through is passive in any way. It really isn't. If this is a confusing part of what you're going through, hopefully this will give you some clarity. It's totally understandable. You don't want, why do I not want to be connected to the universe right now or connected to anything right now? Am I depressed? What's going on? This is just a way for you to collect your own energy and do your own thing. Now, you don't have to be in any way, shape, or form. You do not need to be focusing totally on this, the polarity of this, that, and the other. All of this is integrating within you. All of this is happening. All you need to do is release and accept. And some of you might be, putting that off or not wanting to do that. Some of you might be thinking, or there's a part of you in your subconscious, if I release this, what happens? Will I not be in the world anymore? There might be a little bit nervousness coming in from your ego. Again, perfectly fine. How you do this and how you work with this energy is it's your personal private business. Nobody else gets to say anything about it, right? But it's a potent energy that you have, and how you work with it is totally up to you again. But all you need to do is allow some time for it, again, any way that you want to, and just allow the process to sort of integrate on its own terms. There's nothing that you really need to do. You don't even need to oversee it. All of the work that you've been doing, delving deep, figuring things out, it's all been there. It's just a matter of alchemizing all of that work and allowing it to integrate so you can release finally from it. Sometimes you get to these places of like really profound peace where you're completely integrated with the differences and very accepting of what's going on. That's not to say that you need to believe everything and you shouldn't have boundaries. It doesn't mean that, just because you've integrated all of this, that you need to put up with other people who have not integrated this. But this is something that you're used to. This is something that you can do. You know how to speak up for yourself now. You've learned this the hard way. So you do have these secret beginnings. Something big is forming. It may not feel like it is because you're, every time you feel as though, all right, I want to get on this path or this could be open to me, there's no excitement there. So you're wondering what's going on. It's not depression. You're giving yourself, your subconscious and your consciousness combined are giving yourself some room to be able to do this very, very deep work that, again, you've been working on for so long. So allow it to happen. Let's go ahead and get you some tarot at this time and get you some more information. Again, the fertile void. This is a very fertile time for you. And don't worry, all of the ideas that you're coming up with, you may not be in the mood to activate them just yet. But these ideas are forming, and they're forming in such a way that they're going to be, you're going to have a path of ease once you've moved through this energy. So you've got the 10 of Wands energy coming in here. So again, you don't need to take on too much at this time. This really is about, you've got the 5 of Swords. Yeah, and again, not getting too involved in the nuances of this, justice. And this is all coming in because you're here to provide, and I'm sure everybody thinks this is quite cheesy at this point. I totally understand that. We see it everywhere, but that quote, if you do not feel part of this world, it means you were born to create a new one, right? We've always heard that. That's exactly what you're here to do. And you're not here to do it in any way with the old systems that, again, are crumbling. You're not here to provide anything. You don't want, there's no stability in these society that's crumbling in any way, shape, or form. There's no point. And to build sort of a new way of being on the old isn't going to work either. And that's the same thing of getting into the differences or the us versus them narrative or this, that, and the other. And again, whatever you want to do, that's fine. To go into the us versus them narrative at some point for you was interesting. It was necessary for you to do that. So you could really understand the nuances of what you were working with. When you delve into something, you do it. You do it wholeheartedly. So you can say, I experienced that. I felt that. I knew that. So you do understand that. But it causes sort of this it's not even fighting, it's just this place within that's always at unrest. It keeps saying civil unrest, right? And in the collective, that's how it shows up. And that's wonderful too, depending on what's going on, to rise up against something that isn't working anymore. That's all perfectly reasonable. But again, it takes your energy. There's a way of doing all of this within, right? Where you're no longer part of this anymore. So this is a way for you to sort of navigate this energy that you have right now. And again, this is not passive, right? You're not depressed per se. You're not depressed. You might be feeling that way because you're not actualizing exactly what's going on. But give yourself that space without looking over your shoulder and trying to figure out what's going on. And then you will click into this energy and really sort of figure out what it is that's going on. So give yourself that patience, give yourself that rest. There's an essence of inner winter here, but the inner winter is really coming from this place of just needing to be you, needing to be around. Be very careful of the energy that you put yourself around right now. Feel free to discuss anything that you want to with people that you trust. You don't have to keep any of this to yourself, but make sure that the people who you bring into your world at this time have something good to say about this, not going off in different collective energies. We'll be trusting the energy that you're personally bringing in, and we'll be able to bring back some of their own energies. That will provide you with a little bit of sort of that connection, that specific type of connection that some of you are craving right now, even though there's a part of you that's like, I don't want to connect anymore. I want to do, completely the opposite, which again is totally understandable. So there's no burden here anymore. You're getting through the burden of that sort of human burden of like polarity, and it's absolutely everywhere in society. It's layered in ways that are very obvious and ways that are not very obvious, insofar as that if you choose something, automatically something else is coming to you. So this is not a small thing that you're doing. And again, you're at the end of this cycle in order to be able to do this for good. It brings you in to a sort of a brand new beginning. But these are secret beginnings happening for you because you're doing this in a womb type like energy. And again, you've done this energy already through the collective. There's no need to do that anymore. Let everybody do what they need to do in the collective. It's all coming to the surface. That's the way it's supposed to be. There's no judgment. There's no right or wrong way to do things, full stop. And there's definitely no right or wrong way to do things in the collective, because this is an accumulation of hundreds, if not thousands of years. So it has to come out the way that it's coming out. Raw, clumsy, whatever, whatever adjective you want to put in there. It's absolutely perfect the way it is. It may seem like chaos, and in many ways it's playing out like that, but actually it's brilliant. So, step away from that energy necessarily, unless you want to pinpoint or pick out certain things that's going to help you in this sort of this quest for this underlying polarity, and to let it go. And of course, you are building something, but you've got to build this new world within yourself before you see it out in the world also. So this is something that you're doing to solidify for your own patience, for your own life, for the way that you want to move forward. You're realizing in a very profound way that you cannot follow the world anymore to get to where you want to be. You need to forge your own path completely outside of the systems that were available to you before. And some of those systems, honestly, Paul, too, were never available to you. They told you that they were, but they really weren't. So this is a way for you to forge your own way forward. Now, this doesn't need to be done in any kind of battling, in any kind of energy of that polarity. This is the patience, the rest, the beauty. Again, allow in that fertile, that's very, very important here, that fertile womb energy, and allow this energy to come in. And again, if you want to disconnect, honor exactly where you are. Feel free to bring in the energy of select people, select energies that you feel as though can really help you solidify what you're going through right now. That's perfectly fine. If anything, that's just going to help you feel that connection, and that's going to give you that hope and that inspiration, right? But you are not alone in this. Reach out to your guides and just allow this to come about the way that it's always meant to, the way that you've been working up to it. This just is another part of your alchemy, but it's a very powerful part of your alchemy, and it's also a very profound ending. Now, your beginnings may be secret. They may not be as da-da, as they have been in the past with you, but don't underestimate them. They're not passive beginnings that are happening for you. All this is leading you forward into something absolutely beautiful with incredible opportunities. So stay the course and stay exactly where you are, just honoring where you are. You don't need to push through this, and this is not going to be months and years, and this, we're talking days, maybe a week. It depends on each and every one of you. The more you allow this energy in, the more it's going to come in, do what it needs to do in the integration process, and then the releasing will happen, the surrendering will happen. So for some of you, this could be a moment in time. So just allow for it to come in, invite it in. It's actually a very, not just powerful, but it's a very integrative process that's going to have a lot of joy come at it right now. And your integration, your feeling of that integration will come back. If you don't feel it right now, that's fine. Remember, you're going back to something bigger and better. Absolutely. So all these fragments of yourself that you didn't feel as though in the past that you were able to display or able to integrate fully, you will be able to do that. This is all what you're doing here. And it's not selfish. It's you doing that and then creating a new energy in the collective, which we of course so need. But there's no pressure. Do it on your own terms. Do it the way that you need to. But again, this is not passive work. Stay the course. You've got this. So beautiful, Pile 2s. Sending you so much love and light for exactly who you are and where you are in the world. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, a big shout out, if that's an appropriate thing to say, to our beautiful goddess Hecate, Hecate, here today to get us these very powerful in the moment messages. Feel free, of course, to subscribe if you'd love to. And if you haven't before, we do these deep psychological messages every week. And of course, there are so many links down below to be in support of this energy, some free, some not, but still always listen to your intuition. You know, the website is down below. We have the Unicorn School of Light for 21 days activation. Anything that you want is right there for you. Again, always listen to your intuition before you seek out any kind of whatever it is that you feel like you need, because your intuition always guides you in the right direction. So until we meet again, Pile 2, you go be you. Take care. Bye-bye. Hello, beautiful Pile 3s. This is your powerful message in the moment from our beautiful goddess Hecate, or Hecate, however you say her name. We're going to start off with our oracle and move on to some tarot for clarity. Let's get right into your messages, Pile 3. Your first card is Morning Dew, clarity, a fresh start, a positive outlook. Beautiful. Beautiful. First card, energy there. Your second is Give Birth, and that's number 15 for you. And your third card is Understanding. And this is a gorgeous energy for you to be in and around. Now, it's obvious that some of you might actually be giving birth. I mean, these are general readings, so of course that could be part of it. Most of you, though, are ready for... you're not just ready for a new beginning. You're ready to really embrace the next step. Now, let's break that down. That's not a small thing. In the past, you had many different ways of working with your life. Some of them, you very strong personality. You'd come in and you steamroll everything in your path and say, this is what I want, and you would get it. And that would be great. You have this very powerful magnetic presence. You know, when you employed that powerful magnetic presence, literally steamrolled into whatever it is that you want, and people got out of the way, right? Okay, see that energy. Let's just, you know, some people were intimidated by it. Now, this was important for you to be able to do that, because there were times that you hid parts of yourself in order to just kind of be left alone. This quirky, unique sense of self, this beautiful energy that you have. So for you to go in and sort of like quote unquote steamroll and just say, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing. This was important for you to realize and actualize your power in order to be able to do that. And again, you got what you wanted. Now, did you want it at the end of it? Did it bring you the happiness that you were desiring? Not necessarily, but it brought you closer to who you were. And that was really important at that time. So however you've displayed your power has been brilliant for you. Now you're coming to this really profound understanding, and it comes in with this real sort of clarity that you have. that the power was always within you, and it doesn't necessarily need to be. And let's, this could be a little bit wordy, so let's make sure it's, what we're saying is it's clarity for you here. So it's all about everything that you want is already there. It's a matter of picking what it is that you want, and you can pick whatever it is that you want and attract it with the energy that you have. You don't have to steamroll anymore, although again that was perfect for you at the time, and in that way it was, that getting that drama back is absolutely brilliant. There's a dramatic and a beautiful part of you that's very it is very dramatic. Now, sometimes it comes out in different ways. If you're not listening or fully integrating with the inner child, a little tantrum comes out. But also that's important for you to regulate or understand, because when the tantrum comes out, that gives you an understanding of, all right, I'm done now. I've had my fill. And you may not have known that if the tantrum didn't come in, right? So you've been working with all these different limits to yourself, right? You've been discussing limits. And in some ways, there's parts of your life, and even recently, where you may have been feeling like you've put so many limits on yourself in a little way that you feel as though you're ready to blow in some ways. There's so many limits, and you can sense the limits that you put around yourself. And again, this is sort of a subconscious, psychological, as well as physical limits. You're noticing all of them around you, and you might be feeling, I just want to blow my top. I just want to get out of Dodge. And it's not necessary that you're going to do it, but it's almost like, I just want to leave everything that I have right now and start fresh. And that's completely normal, because what you're doing from the inside out, very, very carefully and deliberately, is feeling into what it is to put limits on yourself. And this is very, very powerful work. And like Pal 2, very different situation. But it's not a passive reading, and it's not passive in any way what you're doing. Now, what you're doing in some ways is understated, and it feels like it's understated because you're doing this work on your own. This is solo work. Now, you can absolutely explain this to somebody else. And as we said in Pal 2, if there are people that are going to understand you, absolutely open up to that connection, because chances are people around you are going through this too. This is sort of happening on a personal level, and in some ways a collective level, but not everybody is going through this. But really understanding the limits that we put on ourselves, on our lives, on our attitudes, and what we feel as though we can, what we can achieve. Now, usually all of this is done in the subconscious, so we're not really aware of it, but it's the driving force in how we move forward. So it constantly gives us these roadblocks, and we don't know, why is this happening? I had this energy, and I had this all sorted, and this is, I'm not moving forward the way that I want to, because the subconscious is there, for want of a better term, maybe sabotaging a little bit. So the fact that this is coming up and you're feeling as though, for some of you, that, the mind is blowing, you're feeling as though everything's coming to the surface. All that's saying to you is that everything in the subconscious has been exposed to you. Nothing's happening in the subconscious anymore, which means that you're very conscious of it, which is a good thing, because it means that you can get to the bottom of everything. But of course, it also means that you're very much in touch with it. So you're very cognizant of the energy that's around you right now. And it may feel a little uncomfortable, or at the very least restrictive, right? However, the energy may feel restrictive, but you're not restricted, because staying on that path and understanding that you're here for a reason, you're here to blast through all of this. Pal 2 was all about polarity. This is about you really understanding the limits that you put yourself into, right? And really catching up to yourself, because you've been working on many facets of yourself where you know that you deserve that you want. It's out there for you. But you also have been finding in the last year, or maybe 18 months, that even though you have a very firm grasp of your loyalty to yourself, of understanding that you are worthy of things, and this is very clear, that again, when you put yourself out there, things have not been taking off in the way that you want to. And this is the last component of this, right? This is the psychological, the sort of the understated, the subconscious coming to the surface and allowing you in to say, all right, this is why there were roadblocks before. This is a way for you to dive deeply into this essence of limitless, right? Being limitless, allowing yourself to be. And this means that you're in this liminal space, of course, because you're not where you quite want to be right now. Um, but it's okay if you hang on. It's more than okay. It's absolutely brilliant. But for those of you who are feeling as though, like Paul too, that you don't feel as though you're quite okay. First of all, you are, and second of all, really come into that attitude and that understanding of giving birth, that figurative or literally giving birth. This is something that you're doing. Everything that you've been working on is culminating into this sort of these moments here of a fresh start. And of course, you're going to have a positive attitude because you're going to be able to move in any direction, living spherically, going anywhere that you want. Because the attitude of knowing that you deserve what you want will be coupled with and integrated fully into this limitless mindset, right? So nothing will be able to hold you back. So really create, and that goes with your creativity, that goes with everything that you touch. So really create this energy of about to give birth to something new, and stay in that energy for any of you who are feeling a little bit down or confused or feeling a little bit like we said, right? Your top's gonna blow at this moment, you know. Don't worry about any of that stuff. Yes, you feel that. That's because you're really getting in touch with the energy of what you're feeling as it moves through you. It's not necessary for you to feel absolutely every part of the limiting factor as it moves through you. You can honor from afar what's going on and not feel as though you're here to, like, for your mind to explode. Again, really feel into the giving birth aspect of the how everything is shifting and changing, and how the clarity and the fresh start is coming in, right? And the integration process specifically between knowing that you deserve what you want and of course the limitless structure that's available to you now, which of course you can move in any direction. And we want to remind you, as we did I think in Pile 1, anything that you're seeking is seeking you. And of course, anything that's been activated in your blueprint that you're supposed to achieve in this lifetime will be coming to you. You don't have to worry about it. You know, it's all being assigned to you. It's all going to work out. You do not have to worry. You know, you don't have to oversee it in the way that you've been doing before. Just allow it to happen. Again, that limitless mindset is the last piece of the puzzle here. But it's not something that you've not been working on. Again, everything's coming up from the subconscious. So as you're conscious of it, in a way that most people are, you might be going, why am I feeling this way? This is crazy. That's the reason why. So hopefully we've given you some clarity there. Let's go ahead and get you some beautiful tarot and get you a little bit more information here. You've got Judgment coming in, that Judgment card, that beautiful. You've got the Five of Wands. This is a way for you to move forward with a completely different momentum. And you've got the King of Pentacles, absolutely, with the understanding here on this card. So again, the focus, these cards, the tarot is just reiterating what we've already said, but in a much more powerful way in some ways. You know, so the Five of Wands, yeah, if you're feeling that energy, really click into the giving birth, that allowing energy, that surrendering energy that's going to bring you closer into this integration. It's far quicker, and you don't need to feel every aspect of it. As we said, it's intense energy, so it can drive you insane. Allow it and make some space for it in your life too. You know, when you're about to give birth, some people do this, you know, they have a list of things they want to do on the day that they want to give birth. But usually you say, all right, I'm going to give birth today, and you let it happen, right? Everything else goes on the back burner. Let this sort of everything else go on the back burner. But at the same time, you don't need to give too much energy to it. Just allow it to come in. It's a different perspective, a little shift, a tweak in your perception will really solidify sort of that energy of joy, rather than that energy of containment. I need to contain this right now. That's why I feel as though I'm about to explode, right? And the Judgment here, allow yourself to be able to go through this. For those of you who are feeling as though I've been through this before, you know, a little bit nervous or maybe not trusting that this is a new beginning, that's perfectly natural. You have been through incrementally so many different versions of this. It's perfectly natural that your practical mind is coming in and saying, what now? You know, we're tired of doing this. And maybe your energy is low from going through this and giving it too much energy. But give yourself that space to be able to come back into this. Again, this is connected to the collective energy, which is something we talked about a little bit in Pal 2. Again, very different energy. So whatever you do here on a personal level will absolutely be recorded in the collective too. But you don't need to be in and around the collective in order to do this. This is a very personal, private, alchemical kind of stage that you're at. So, contain your energy if you want to, but again, not too much. Bring in the right kind of people, which is something that we talked about in Pal 2 specifically, to talk about what you're going through. This is nothing that you need to keep to yourself per se, but of course you want to be around people who understand what you're going through. Believe it or not, there are people who are going through this in and around you that may not be vocalizing this either, but are absolutely feeling it. You're not alone in this either. But the offset of this is that the understanding of this, right? Once you get into it, like a plethora of information and beauty and wisdom and very, very grounded, divine, masculine kind of energy coming in, where again, you can move in any direction, but you've created this very, very firm foundation for yourself. And wherever you want to go to, again, it's going to be a lot quicker. It's going to change your attitude, how you get out there, how you work with energy. And there won't be anything where you start something and you're building momentum and then it falls flat. Things will start taking off. Things will start moving. In fact, things that you gave energy to before that sort of went flat a little bit, you will be able to regain more energy and go back into that and have that take off, maybe in slightly different ways, but really pulling in that energy and have past projects take off in a way that they didn't have before, because there's new energy supporting it right now, right? So again, you don't need to focus on how this is going to come about. This is all about the limitless and working with your energy, working with your guides in a slightly new direction. This is all about the surrendering process. But there's an energy around the surrendering process. Each and every one of you, and of course these are general readings, will be working with this energy slightly differently based on your own experiences, your own reasonable way of working with alchemy, the way in which you extract all of your beautiful wisdom, but you have it there. The payoff is right there. It really is. And it may seem like it's kind of big, and in some ways it is, and in some ways it isn't. So, just integrate the process that you're going through and mainly just allow it to be able to come through. It will be very apparent how powerful it is right now. Let in people that you need to, stay with the understanding of it, and allow this to accrue the way that it wants to, right? Don't focus on the specifics of your life right now, because they will be shifting very, very soon. That's another thing that everybody can be doing too, as they're feeling a little bit tightened, they're feeling a little bit closed in. They're coming up with practical reasons why I owe this, or I do that, I'm in debt here, or this isn't taking off, how am I supposed to do? Perfectly reasonable that your mind would go to that. But if you can come away from that, because you're focusing on energy that you created before this all started. And all of that can be shifted in a moment's perspective, right? So try and stay away from the practical ways that your mind is trying to tell you that you really are kind of losing it, or there's too much fraction, and just allow for the expansiveness to come in. Give yourself that room to be able to do that. If you're not feeling that social right now, that's fine. Honor exactly where you are. Maybe you're very social and you're trying things on and you're speaking to people, and that's how you're dealing with it. That's wonderful too. Excuse me. That's wonderful too. However you approach this, there's no wrong or right way to do it. Just listen to your inner soul and allow time for this to come in. And again, the understanding that comes in, that it's extracted from this process, allows you to move in any direction that you want. And again, allows you to pick up the momentum of things that you've been working on and bring them to fruition in brand new ways, and in more successful ways than you ever imagined. Because again, limitless. You're talking about limitless. So if you haven't fielded into the limitless aspect of this yet, that's fine. It's all there. Sometimes it's a click like this, and all of a sudden you've gotten it. And once you know, you can't unknow. So just because it hasn't clicked in just yet doesn't mean that you're not on the precipice of this happening. Allow it to come into you. Allow it to seek you out, this energy. You've been working toward it anyway. And then once it integrates, that surrendering process will be there for you. You can move in any direction that you want. So wonderful, Pile 3. We're sending you so much love and light for exactly who you are and where you are in the world. Big shout out to our beautiful goddess Hecate, for coming in with these, psychological, deep, beautiful messages for you today. Powerful messages. As always, feel free to subscribe if you haven't already and hit that bell icon if you feel as though you want these deep psychological readings every week. And of course, we have a slew of different ways to work with the supportive energy down below, from the Unicorn School of Light. Of course, we have the podcast and the website, working one-on-one. Whatever you feel you need, listen to your intuition. You know you better than anyone else. Always listen to your intuition. It will lead you exactly where you need to be before you seek out any kind of help. Go be you, Pile 3, and until we meet again, take care. Bye-bye.